February 10th regular meeting of the Fortuna Planning Commission to order. Commissioner Kine, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Stephen, could you do the roll call, please?
Yes, Chair. Commissioner Christensen,
Present?
Commissioner Doris,
Here.
Commissioner Howley,
Yes.
Commissioner Kine,
Here.
Chair Nichols.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item 2, oral comments from the public. For this particular item, these are for oral comments from the public for anything that is not on this agenda. So if you have anything that you would like to come forward and talk about to us that is not on this agenda, please come forward now. Not at once, just one at a time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. There's one item on the consent calendar, and that is the minutes of the January 13th regular Planning Commission meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Seconded.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item 4, Planning Commission business. I believe Commissioner Christensen is going to recuse herself for some reason. First of all, we will hold a public hearing. That is kind of the purpose of this item tonight. It's the city is, or we're going to hold a public hearing to adopt a resolution recommending City Council approve of a zoning map amendment from retail commercial to commercial thoroughfare for assessor's parcel number 040-172-009 and finding the project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. So I believe that we are going to check and see if anyone is on Zoom that might have a comment in that way.
Before we get there, we'll hand it over to staff for their presentation.
Oh, we're going to do the presentation first? Okay. Katie, you're on.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, let me give you permission. Okay, that should work now. Let's see. There you go.
Thank you, Chair Nichols. Commissioners, we are here today to review the zoning map amendment for 703 Main Street. First, we'll start with a little project background for the area. The location at 703 Main Street is developed with
Your mic.
a 10,000 square foot parcel. It's a 10,000 square foot parcel developed with a 1,500 square foot primary structure and a 960 square foot accessory structure. The primary structure was originally constructed as a single-family residence, and then the residence was later converted to commercial use. Following that, in 2021, a conditional use permit was issued to allow the parcel to be used as a contractor's yard for a pest extermination business, and subsequently, that property owner retired and the parcel was sold to the current property owner. The project location is in a neighborhood characterized by mixed-use development, predominantly commercial with some residential components. Adjacent uses include an auto shop to the east, a contractor's office to the west, some commercial space to the south, a light industrial development to the southwest, and office space, as well as multifamily residential uses to the north. Oops. We'll go over some regulatory context next. The current zoning is retail commercial. The retail commercial district is intended to provide a complete and intensive commercial center in the downtown commercial area. This subject parcel adjoins the commercial thoroughfare zone and the light industrial zone in a transitional area west of the concentrated downtown retail area. And as you can see from this zoning map, it is right at the border between commercial thoroughfare and retail commercial. This is a transitional area. The area surrounding this parcel is less retail and more commercial. The last bit of retail development for the area is where this star is located, so it's a few blocks away. Yes.
Okay. Could you, really quick, just hit play? It's not showing up on the screen. It's still on the title page.
That's because it's frozen. Now. It's because we have an audience.
Yes, and thank you for your patience.
Okay, it is not escaping. It is not showing. Okay. Well, we will move along. I'm not sure why it's not advancing. It's advancing on mine. Let me stop sharing and I'll reshare, and hopefully that will fix the issue. Please stand by.
If you'd like, you could try sending it to me and I can share it on my computer for you. We could take a quick recess if you'd like.
There we go. Come back. Okay. We'll have to go through, not in presentation view, but at least folks will be able to see the slides. We went over the current zoning. The proposed zoning is to be rezoned from retail commercial to commercial thoroughfare. That will extend the adjoining existing commercial thoroughfare zone to the east from its current zone. The CT zone will better align the property's historic and surrounding uses with allowable uses and with the existing commercial general plan land use designation. Okay. Currently, as you can see on this graphic, it's here in the center, the subject parcel. The general plan land use designation for the parcel is commercial, which provides for neighborhood and locally oriented commercial centers that may include retail and service uses, limited professional and administrative offices, public and quasi-public uses, and similar and compatible uses. This general plan land use is compatible with the commercial thoroughfare zoning and will not need to be amended as part of the rezone. As you can see, the subject parcel is thoroughly surrounded by that commercial general plan land use. In contrast, the existing retail commercial zoning is associated with the central business district general plan land use designation, which is a less compatible general plan land use and would likely need to be amended if the parcel were to maintain its retail commercial zoning, or if, say, it was not zoned retail commercial and we were to change that zoning. So it's currently not quite compatible with its existing general plan land use. And that designates that, really accentuates that transitional area. We have our core central business district that is the core downtown area, and then the transition from that to the commercial thoroughfare, which this subject parcel is at the edge of that transition. As for CEQA, the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 15061, subsection B3, the common sense exception, because it can be seen with certainty that the ministerial act of amending the zoning map will not result in any changes to the environment. Any change in use or future development projects associated with this rezone will then undergo additional environmental review at the time of those applications. Public notice. In conformance with our Fortuna Municipal Code, Section 17.07.200, subsection C, the public notices were mailed to 48 addresses within a 300-foot radius on January 28th, 2026, and the project was published in the North Coast Journal on January 29th, 2026. We are required to give a 10-day notice, and we were in excess of that. For the future uses, as everybody is aware, City Ambulance is a sub-applicant for this rezone application. Ambulance service is conditionally permitted in the commercial thoroughfare zone. The commercial thoroughfare zone is the only zone that ambulance service is allowed to be located in. The applicant has submitted a conditional use permit application that will be heard by the Planning Commission at potentially the next meeting. This location was chosen due to the on-site restroom and kitchen facilities that can accommodate their 24-hour staffing and the turnkey condition of the space. We have had quite a bit of public comment for this. The public commenters have expressed concern regarding noise and traffic near residential uses or while the ambulance is entering the highway. In response to that, the applicant has proposed a no lights and sirens area along the totality of Main Street. Through the conditional use permit process, the city will adopt conditions of approval to restrict emergency mode operation during quiet hours to limit the impact on the residential uses that are currently located within the commercial zones. The lights and sirens are currently allowed anywhere in the city, regardless of the dispatch location, as there are no restrictions on emergency vehicle response mode as a matter of public safety. So currently, the ambulance is allowed to use their lights and sirens on the main street when entering the highway at any time during the day. We don't have any restrictions to that. They do, most of our emergency services do try to accommodate quiet times. Our fire department and ambulance services utilize the siren as little as necessary, but it does become necessary. Main Street has historically been utilized as highway access for northbound calls and will continue as a major access point. There is no access to the highway or interior locations that will not impact any residential and commercial uses, including Newburgh Road and Kenmar Road, and that is due to the Zoning, the only zoning that allows the ambulance service being the commercial thoroughfare zone. Those are all located within or near other residential zones, or they have mixed use and contain residential uses within those zones. That leads us to our recommended commission action. I recommend that the commission receive the staff presentation and review commission questions, open the public hearing and receive public comment, close the public hearing, and make a motion to adopt Resolution P-2026-3144, which is a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna recommending City Council approval of a zoning map amendment from retail commercial to commercial thoroughfare for assessor's parcel number 040-172-009, and find the project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners.
Thank you, Kate. Okay. We are going to now check and see if anyone is on Zoom that has anything to say about this.
Let me double check for you, Chair. I am seeing no raised hands on Zoom, so there are no public comments on Zoom.
Okay, and I understand we received several written comments. If you would be so kind as to
Yes,
read
that
those
is
for us?
correct. Thank you. The first public comment starts with,
Sorry, Stephen, did we want to let folks know the policy regarding the letters and speaking at the podium?
yes.
do that now.
Yeah, we can do it now.
Okay. So, as a reminder, during the public comment period, community members are only allowed to speak for 3 minutes. If community members have already submitted their comments to planning staff, your comments will be read into the record on your behalf during this time. When your letter is read, you will not be allowed to speak at the podium, as each community member is only allowed one written comment or oral comment.
Thank you, Chair. So the first public comment starts out with, hello, Katie Schmidt. My name is Ben French. I am a local realtor and homeowner here in the great city of Fortuna. My wife and I have owned a single-family home on 800 block of 7th Street for over 15 years. It is a great neighborhood of older homes with easy walking access to our local parks, restaurants, and businesses. I fully support our wonderful first responders at Fortuna Fire Department, Fortuna Police Department, and of course the paramedics and staff at City Ambulance. These folks are truly invaluable assets in our small community. I am writing to express my concerns in opposition to the proposed rezone and conditional use of 703 Main Street to allow for ambulance services. I believe rezoning the 703 Main Street lot from retail commercial to commercial thoroughfare to allow for ambulance services may be detrimental to the property values of the surrounding residential properties. I am concerned that the reasonably quiet neighborhood of homes and small businesses surrounding the lot will be disrupted by lights, sirens, and ambulances appropriately speeding onto narrow main streets and side streets every time an ambulance is called to respond within the Fortuna, Lolita, or Ferndale area. I think we can all agree that homes in the vicinity of businesses that utilize lights, sirens, and emergency vehicles are less desirable to buy, rent, or lease, therefore lowering the values of the property surrounding this location. The representative from City Ambulance, who was kind enough to meet with concerned neighbors last week at the Humboldt Equity Building, assured residents that their drivers would not utilize lights and sirens on the ambulances while responding to calls out until they were a reasonable distance from the 703 Main Street building. While this gesture from City Ambulance shows their willingness to be a good neighbor and it is very much appreciated, it does raise some concerns. Don't we want our first responders to react to all emergencies as fast as possible? How can paramedics drive aggressively and safely on narrow streets surrounding the 703 Main Street location without the use of lights and sirens? I certainly would not want this hindrance to affect the reaction time to an emergency for my loved ones or community members in need of assistance. I ask the City of Fortuna to deny the rezoning of 703 Main Street parcel if City Ambulance needs to relocate from their current location on Fortuna Boulevard I asked them to please choose a more appropriate location in Fortuna where the ambulances can respond to all calls with the lights and sirens on if needed. There are multiple locations available for sale and lease that I feel would not adversely affect the property values of Fortuna homeowners. Thank you for your time and consideration on this matter, Ben French. The second public comment I have starts out with, this letter is regarding the proposed city ambulance service on February 10th Planning Commission. I own 527 Main Street and running the Prime Monastery School in Fortuna for the past 27 years. So many parents come to the Monastery School before moving to Fortuna because the Monastery School for their children prioritizes education, is in a small, quiet town, and it is safe. We definitely should have an ambulance service in our town as it's important to all of us, but not in the busy area like Main Street. Their parents will be dropping and picking up their children all through the day. All these kids are below the age of 6, and the kids would be traumatized by hearing the sirens and seeing flashing lights of ambulances. There will be high schoolers walking during their break times too. Also, some families with the children live on Main Street, and we see kids walking to the Fortuna Middle School and back to home. Please consider this for the sake of the kids in mind and change the location as other people are also suggesting. Like I mentioned, we do need the ambulance in our town, but not on the main street, please. Thank you from the Prime Monastery School. Our third public comment. This one is from Matt Allen. Opposition to rezone and conditional use permit at 703 Main Street, Fortuna. Dear Planning Commissioners, City Planners, and Fortuna Fire Department, thank you for donating your time and energy to the community. I respect that city planning is a difficult and stressful endeavor. First and foremost, I support our first responders. God knows they have been there for me and my family over the years. I own the large English Tudor building 100 feet away from and catty corner to the subject property. My building houses 2 professional offices, an esthetician studio, and residential apartments. 703 Main Street is not zoned for an ambulance base with sirens, lights, and high speeds. A zoning change to commercial thoroughfare would still require a conditional use permit for an ambulance base. This land use request does not align with city planning, period. The north end of town adjacent to the subject property and immediately north consist of offices and residential uses. Immediately across Main Street, 40 feet from the subject property, a trauma therapist sits with patients. The offices of Plum Construction, BCom Construction, J&G Landscape, and myself, Humboldt Equity, are located between 40 and 200 feet from the subject property. Sirens, lights, and high speeds are very problematic to office operations. Immediately across Main Street and north of the offices is 100% residential uses. Home to sleeping babies, day sleepers, hardworking people, and students. The entire immediate neighborhood has historically for over a century been used as office and residential use. This proposed location also adversely affects city property. The Monday Club, this area is not for sirens, lights, and high speeds. City Ambulance and the landowner propose to operate an ambulance base that service the entire mid-county, Ferndale, Lolita, South to Scotia, and out Highway 36, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sirens, lights, and high speeds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, will decimate the quality of life in this otherwise peaceful neighborhood. Tenants will vacate, offices will not be able to operate, property values will plunge. An additional concern is the proposed ambulance route. They show poor foresight. City Ambulance is currently stationed strategically in the middle of town with easy access to all major roadways. The proposed routes isolate the ambulance base, forcing all routes north through town to the highway, then turning back to the south. The highly congested Main Street Business District and schools prohibit all other routes. Timeframes to Ronoville Road, Newburgh Road, Kenmar Road, and Ross Hill Road make efficient, responsible times prohibitive with this proposed plan. One final and significant concern, the city ambulance and the property owner proposed to exit the subject property, cross Main Street, and begin using lights, sirens, and high speeds 1 block away at the Monday Club on 8th and Main. The irony of this plan is that this location is 1 block from the prime Montessori school. Think about parents dropping toddlers off in conjunction with lights, sirens, high speeds. This location conflicts with established general plan, zoning, traffic flow, health and human safety, and private property rights. There are excellent other locations available, for instance, 357 Main Street to the north, which has been vacant for years and is zoned correctly, better yet on Dinsmore Drive, which currently has 2 vacant properties available for sale or lease. These are large warehouses zoned appropriately with central access to all major roadways, including Highway 101 and South. If you choose to grant a zone change and conditional use permit, there are conditions that must apply: no sirens, no lights, no high speeds until the ambulance enters Highway 101 off-ramps. However, the condition would still remain prohibitive to response times. Last note, the public notification process failed. Neighbors were not notified. It is clear that the applicant and city ambulance have been working on this plan for a number of months without public discourse. I strongly encourage you to deny this rezone and conditional use permit. It conflicts with the standing general plan and all other public comment and work that went into it. Sincerely, Matt Allen. Our fourth public comment is from Fernando Olea, owner of 720 Main Street and 619 Main Street. They oppose this action. Our fifth public comment is from John Fredenbach. It says, I own the residential property located at 518 Main Street, APN 040-111-01 in Fortuna. I am writing to express my opposition to the proposed rezoning of APN 040-172-009 for the following reasons. First, I am complaining that the notification process used by the city for this public hearing should have included all the parcels along Main Street to the north of the 703 Main Street that will be impacted by the proposed zoning changes. It did not, and therefore many of the affected city residents are either unaware of this hearing today or, like myself, were only made aware of this last Friday. Second, the Planning Commission and City of Fortuna conducted a lengthy and thorough public process to create and adopt its general plan, which chose the cutoff line at 7th Street for the retail commercial zone. The Planning Commission should not discount that prior determination for guiding development within the city. The impacts of the proposed zoning change are not limited to the applicant's parcel. The proposed occupant of the rezoned parcel is City Ambulance, allowing it to relocate its southern Humboldt regional hub into the retail commercial zone of downtown Fortuna. The resulting new traffic patterns of high speed and high noise volume, frequent ambulance trips will negatively impact all those parcels along Main Street from 7th Street to the US 101 on-ramps. I'm just going to take a drink of water really quick, Chair. Sorry. Thank you. Third, included along the stretch of Main Street is the Prime Monastery School, located at 527 Main Street on the south side. This school does not have off-site parking. Consistently, students who are generally toddlers are dropped off and picked up. Along both sides of Main Street, those who park on the north side of Main Street will have to cross the ambulance traffic, which will pose a safety hazard. In addition, I have observed on numerous occasions vehicles performing U-turns while traveling both north and south along Main Street in the 500 block. These will conflict with high-speed ambulance response trips. None of these traffic issues have been considered. Fourth, the staff report included a USGS topo map as the site reference map. This map is extremely difficult to read and determine exactly where the site is relative to other properties in the retail commercial zone versus the commercial thoroughfare zone. A more appropriate map to inform the public would be the 2018 general plan zoning map in the area of Main Street from 9th to US 101. Fifth, the staff report claims that the project is exempt from CEQA under the common sense exception. I respectfully disagree with this determination. Relocating the southern Humboldt hub for city ambulance to the proposed parcel will have significant impacts to traffic, noise, and personal safety of the Prime Monastery school students and other residential individuals and businesses along the trip route on Main Street from 7th North to US 101, all of which should be at a minimum analyzed under CEQA and not summarily dismissed under the ambiguous common sense exemption. Finally, there is available vacant space at 357 Main Street, which is located within the general plan's commercial thoroughfare zoning designation that would be better suited to the proposed use by city ambulance. This site at 357 Main Street would shorten the travel response times to reach both the north and southbound on-ramps to US 101 while avoiding the noise and traffic safety hazards between 7th and 3rd Streets along North Main Street. Presumably, the other such available properties within the existing commercial thoroughfare zoning designation in the general plan that would be more appropriate, consistent with the GP, and better suited to this use than what is being proposed today. Surely these other options would better serve the public and provide judicial planning and development for its residents. Thank you for considering my opposition to the proposed zoning change to APN 040-172-009. Respectfully, John Friedenbach. And then our sixth and last written comment starts with, I want to share my concerns about the proposed city ambulance relocation and the timeline for approving it. I support emergency services and the people who provided them. Based on the information we have today and how quickly this is being moved forward, I am opposed to this proposal. Our location is right at the Highway 101 off-ramp, and that matters. Our site will experience frequent siren use as ambulances enter and exit the highway. That noise will directly impact our business, employees, and customers on a daily basis. There are also safety concerns with increased emergency vehicle traffic where people are consistently pulling in and out of parking lots. I am not confident these impacts have been fully evaluated. I am also concerned that nearby businesses and property owners were not given enough time or notice to review and respond to a proposal that requires rezoning and a conditional use permit. This feels rushed. Given all of this, I do not think this proposal should be approved as it stands or on the current timeline. I am going to try to make it to tonight's meeting, but given the short notice and other comments, I am not sure I can. Please feel free to share this at the meeting if I am unable to attend. Thank you for your time and consideration. Jessica Cordy. Thank you so much, Chair, and I'm just going to go turn on the microphone for our in-person people.
Okay. I believe this would be the time for anyone that has a comment that wasn't read into the record already to come forward. When you do, please state your name so that we can have it for the record. And you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Abe Folkart. I am the property owner at 703 and 705 Main Street, as well as an adjacent property at 657 7th Street. I'd like to begin by emphasizing what is before the Commission this evening. This hearing is limited to consideration of a zoning map amendment from retail commercial to commercial thoroughfare. No conditional use permit, no operational approval, and no specific land use entitlement is being requested tonight. Purpose of this amendment is to align the zoning of this parcel with the existing commercial thoroughfare zoning on adjacent and nearby properties, as well as with the site's general plan commercial land use designation. Department staff has reviewed this request and determined that the zoning amendment does not increase density, does not increase population, and does not result in any environmental impacts, which is why it qualifies for CEQA common sense exemption. Any future development or conditional use would be subject to its own separate application, its own separate hearing and review. Okay, none of which is before you tonight. Once a parcel is zoned, the uses allowed or conditionally permitted within that zone apply uniformly to all similarly zoned parcels. This means that any potential future use of this parcel could legally occur on any of the neighboring commercial thoroughfare parcels, regardless of the ownership. Zoning decisions, therefore, must be based on adopted policies and land use compatibilities across the zone as a whole, not on personal preference, not on proximity, or oppositions to a specific property owner. Any concerns related to potential future traffic, noise, operational details are not part of this zoning action tonight and are appropriately addressed only if and when a separate entitlement is proposed, which will be later on. Okay. Those issues are not a basis for zoning map amendment decisions under the city code and state law. In conclusion, the zoning amendment is consistent with the general plan, consistent with the surrounding zoning, supported by the planning department's analysis. It means full discretionary future review for any conditional uses while bringing this parcel into alignment with the existing commercial corridor. I respectfully ask that you adopt the staff findings and approve the zoning map amendment. And I would, with as much public comment that's relating to all the emergency use stuff, I would like to say one thing here. I didn't really have planned to say yet, but give me a minute. So, emergency service activity is citywide and inherent to public safety. Sirens and response traffic occurs throughout the city regardless of the facility's location and is regulated by state law. And if city ambulance decides to go for a CUP in this, there will be a process which is not in effect today in any of the city with any of the emergency services. Thank you.
Good evening, council people, commissioners, and staff. Thank you so much for your time in putting all this together for us. My name is Erica Thompson. I am the property owner at the corner of 7th and Main, 677, and the owner of Plum Construction, along with my husband. We are the direct neighbor across 7th Street. I sit in my desk chair, and I could spit and hit the building that is part of this proposal. We are also the contractor who remodeled the building back in 2020 and 2021. I feel like we've heard a lot of emotion, and I understand that. My first emotional reaction when I opened the letter was, oh crap, the lights and sirens, right? I work in that building 5 days a week. I homeschool my children in that building. We're there to do what we need to do, and yes, lights and sirens is a concern. Mr. Fokker put out a lot of facts about what is going on tonight. I spoke with Katie Schmidt about what we need to do, and the truth of the matter is even back in 2020, rezoning that parcel to commercial thoroughfare made sense. It makes sense today. I know that that makes people feel like they're gonna have less control in what goes on around their property, and I can understand that. There's no reason not to do this rezone, really. The lights and sirens, as has been stated, will be handled under a separate form of government, a separate process, and it should be a concern. and it should be taken into consideration. It's just not meant to be taken into consideration tonight as part of this process. As far as lights and sirens and speeding down that road, I sit right there and I watch it all day long, all day long. It's not just emergency vehicles that speed up and down that highway. Trust me, there's a couple people with some very loud mufflers that like to come down Home Avenue and just gun it out of there. Many times a day, I sit and shake my head at how fast people drive through there. One other thing I'd like to say is, and this is not in any direct anything, but the reason that there was a lot of speak tonight about children at the Montessori school. I have kids myself. We get in and out of my truck right there in front of our building, right in the same area. But I would like to point out that the reason that that school can be there is because it is zoned commercial thoroughfare. It wouldn't be allowed to be there if it wasn't. So that is something that has always been a part of their being there. So anyways, I think that you should move forward with the rezoning, and I do believe that the community should be heard as part of the commercial or conditional use permit. This is nerve-wracking. Thank you so much.
Commissioners, thank you. My name is Nathan McKnight. I'm a paramedic lead for City Ambulance. I've been with them for 17 years, predominantly working out of here. I am a volunteer chief in Riadell. One of the biggest things that I do want to echo is what Mr. Flockhart said is what is being proposed tonight is not our conditional use permit, but it is leading towards that direction. The gentleman did speak of my operations manager, Carson Vanderveer, meeting with a bunch of the community members to try and start mitigating some of the things that we would potentially propose moving forward when we do go to the conditional use permit process. As I sat here tonight, I saw your mission statement and it reminded me of the fact that that's exactly what we are trying to do. We are trying to provide timely, efficient, dependable service to the members of this community, the members of the northern communities. And by doing that, we're hoping that we can get into a position where we can get in and off the freeway. For 17 years, I've been teaching the EVOC and driving abilities of our company, and we are trying to minimize the impact on Main Street. That has been one of our directives since day one that I came to work here, is to stay off of Main Street. The opportunity, if we do move forward, is that we do want to be a good neighbor, and we are proposing, in the future that we do have a non-lights and sirens zone. This is a actual national standard that we do across, as we are part of a nationwide company, that we can provide zones that are buffer zones for residentials and things around our bases to be able to provide this type of thing for people. And it doesn't drastically impact our response times, because really the amount of time that it takes for most of the time that we're driving, the lights and sirens don't make a huge difference. We're talking 20 to 30 seconds difference, which in some situations can be significant. But one of the biggest things is that we do want to, if we do move forward, is to convey across that we, as City Ambulance, have stepped up our dispatch center. We're emergency medical dispatching now, so our dispatchers are now trained to triage the calls and actually be able to make a determination on whether we need to go lights or sirens or not. Previously, in the last several years, we have not been able to do that, so everything in the city limits of Fortuna has been lights and sirens. So with historical data from 2024, 2025, we are running about 7 calls a day on average, and 4 of those are lights and sirens. So we are actually trying to mitigate and minimize. So I do appreciate you guys taking in all this consideration. So thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who wants to come up? we're going to close the public hearing in just a second, and we will not be able to reopen it. 10, 9, just kidding. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. Do the commissioners have any questions for any of the people in the audience or staff?
I just have one question. Katie, could you remind us of the area required for the notification process for the neighborhood?
The Fortuna Municipal Code requires a 10-day notice to every parcel within a 300-foot radius.
300 feet.
And so we did send out those notices. That was a total of 48, which is a rather large number
Yeah,
in general for these types of projects.
thank you.
So I am trying to limit my questions to the thoroughfare and not the conditional use permit, so if I go over, please stop me. I did want to double check, there was references to the lights and sirens, noises like that being on a commercial thoroughfare. Was there any referral sent to the Fortuna Volunteer Fire regarding their response to this, or what they might have said? I'm a little surprised that Chief Russ isn't here, just because this has come up in the past, especially with the newer fire station over off of Roner. So I just wanted to see if there was any information regarding that.
Yes, there was. There was additionally, as included in the staff report, there was a letter of support from the Fortuna Volunteer Fire Department. They are in full support of the relocation. It is still a central location, and it will better suit the needs of the ambulance service.
Thank you. And then this will be a question for the property owner or city ambulance, if you'd like to come back up. I just had a couple questions. One, do you happen to know how often, do you happen to know if the property where city ambulance currently is utilized more often to go south or north at all when it comes to response times? Yeah, because I know there was quite a few calls about.
Absolutely, so I will enlighten you on that. We actually have a station in Scotia, so our primary response is north out of town.
Okay, thank you. That was another question I had. I was wondering what, people kept saying southern Humboldt, southern side. I didn't know what the next station was. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a station in Garberville, station in Scotia, Fortuna, we're trying to get to the north end of town, and then our closest station is actually on Spruce Street in Eureka.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that information.
Katie, is there any way you could get the commissioners a copy of that letter from Russ? I think-
They did receive
We have a
that letter.
copy of it.
Yeah.
So you guys have seen it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was included in the staff report, so it's also posted on our website, and it was sent to the commissioners as part of the packet.
And then Katie, I had a question. There was a note, or this could be for you as well. There was a notification about quiet hours when lights and sirens wouldn't be going off. I saw that in a couple different responses. Was there an actual time set on quiet hours?
That would be developed as part of the conditional use
Thank you.
permit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you. And then the last question, thank you, I appreciate it. The last question was, unfortunately, we couldn't really see on the presentation because of the issues that we were having, but the commercial thoroughfare ends at what location versus the commercial commercial
Retail, commercial,
retail
yeah.
location?
The commercial thoroughfare zoning ends directly across the street from this parcel at Erica Thompson's.
Okay, that's exactly what I
Yes.
thought was being portrayed. Just
Yes.
wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just gotta have more comments. I appreciate the comments that have people took the time to write those, and I think they're all based on the presumption of the ambulance hub. But I think tonight, thank you for reminding us. We're looking at the facts here, and the proposed rezoning is consistent with the general plan, and based on the land use, I'm gonna vote favorably. I'll just say that.
Okay.
And through the chair, I also have the map pulled up, if I could share it on the screen if possible for the zoning map. Thank you.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Let me do that. So if you see here, we are here at Main Street. This is where the commercial thoroughfare ends. This is where retail commercial starts, and this is where we are for the proposed rezone.
And just so I'm sure, just so I'm sure, this was the accurate property, the pest control company?
Accurate, yes.
Okay.
The former Accurate Pest Control
thank you.
property.
Okay, so if there is no further discussion, I would like to say that everyone has brought up really good points. It does give everyone a chance to really wrap their head around what they're going to be facing for the conditional use permit should this motion pass tonight. So I'm glad everyone is prepared and is able to get in on this. So I would call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution P-2026-3144.
I will second.
Resolution P-2026-3144, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna recommending City Council approval of a zoning map amendment from retail commercial to commercial thoroughfare for assessor's parcel number 040-172-009 and finding the project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Commissioner Doris,
Yes.
Commissioner Halley,
Yes.
Commissioner Kine,
Yes.
Chair Nichols.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. That concludes our business for this evening, and we'll now go to any Planning Commission staff communication.
Thank you, Chair Nichols. The biggest update I have is that we are going to start hosting some strategic planning meetings, and we do have 3 meetings scheduled. Those will be public meetings to discuss the future of Fortuna and become involved in the strategic planning, which will then guide our general plan update. So the first meeting upcoming will be on March 25th at the River Lodge, and that will be from 5 to 8. So all of the public is invited, and of course, the Planning Commission is encouraged to attend. And then we will have a second meeting at the River Lodge on April 11th from 11 to 3:30. And then an additional meeting on April 30th, that will be at the Monday Club, and that one is to be determined on the timing. We haven't quite gotten that one scheduled yet. But those are a really great opportunity for the community to become involved and have their voices be heard on what they feel the future of Fortuna should be. We are going to be doing, at a minimum, a comprehensive general plan update. We could potentially be rewriting the entire general plan, the entire zoning code. It is really, we are at a pivot point with the city, and we really want these documents to be guided by community voices and be actual usable documents that guide our development, that really have great defining uses and will allow for future development and economic growth for the city. So those are really exciting. It's a great opportunity for folks to get involved. There will be more notice given out for those. They will not be public hearings. They will be an opportunity for the city to become involved. And then, as always, annually, there will be some budget workshops coming up. Those will also be announced on the website. Those will be public hearings. So again, an opportunity for the community to get involved with city government and have their voices be heard on how they want our dollars spent, and to let the council know what their priorities are. Additionally, we do have some grant funding that we will be applying for. We are eligible for up to $3.6 million of California community block grant funding through the California Department of Housing and Community Development. So we will be looking to seek community input on how those funds should be spent. They do have to be very specifically targeted funds, so as much as everybody wants to, have grand ideas, there will be some pretty strict criteria that those need to fall into, and the first meeting for that will be the week of February 17th, to be determined. We are canceling, we don't have a quorum for the city council meeting that week, so that date will be determined, and that will be just a scoping meeting, an opportunity for the community to give input. We will have some projects that we potentially would like to apply for, so we'll get input on the community support for that, and then there will be a public hearing held prior to the application. So we can submit 3 applications up to $3.6 million, 3 separate application types. We can do projects, planning, and economic development, any combination of those. So there'll be more information when we start advertising for the workshop, which will likely be tomorrow. So other than that, does the commission have any questions for staff?
Any other projects that might be coming down the pipe that you're allowed to speak about? I know there's several subdivisions that you're
We do
talking about
have some-
housing-wise.
Yes, we do
but
have
there's-
some rather large subdivisions. We have potentially one new subdivision that is undergoing review that is 30 units, another potential subdivision that could be up to 70 units. And then we do have some smaller subdivisions that are working their way through the review
And those
process.
subdivisions would be
Those are
single-family?
all residential, well, except for the Newburgh Glen townhomes that everybody is very curious about on Newburgh.
Oh, that's,
where they
that's what it's taken care
Yeah,
of.
yeah, so those are multifamily, and they are actually looking to subdivide those parcels, so each structure will have its own parcel, which is similar to what the Adams Group did with their multifamily on Smith Lane. So those,
Okay.
that new development there, each of those structures is on its own parcel.
Okay,
So,
thank you, Katie.
you're welcome, thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to call it a night. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.